I'm standing in front of the M30 Causeway Bridge, as you can see behind me in the background. Traffic is now flowing back over that again. You probably saw this on some of my other videos when they actually opened this up for the first time. We were able to watch that live from the live camera. Before I get started, I just want to thank everybody for liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. I really appreciate it, and it really helps a lot, as well as for my new Patreon, Dina. And I want to thank people for sending me letters. Mike and Jerry, I will pop my P.O. box up on the screen if anyone wants to send me anything there. Now let's go ahead, turn the camera around here, and we'll take a little bit closer look. We'll be able to see this a lot easier from the drone view. But here we go, here goes a truck across right now. You may be able to see a little bow in the middle of this bridge. No, that is not distortion from the fisheye lens on the GoPro. There actually is a small bow and drop in the middle of this bridge. That is designed like that just from the various bolts that were made to put this bridge together. That is normal, and it does carry normal MDOT loads. You can see that truck just went over. Trucks that travel on these normal everyday roads can also travel across this bridge just fine. Tobacco River Dam's back there in the background where the crane is. I'm going to be heading there after I leave here. Let's head on down here though. May be able to see these two ducks way off in the distance. We'll try not to scare them, but we're able to kind of watch these guys from my live camera that is right up here to the left as well. If anyone wants to support my live cameras, you know, we got some stimulus money now. You can either donate in my Patreon account, my PayPal account, or the GoFundMe's linked down below. I think it would be really cool if these ducks actually started nesting here in this water. There's a drake mallard greenhead, and then a hen mallard with him as well. These ducks were being so photogenic over here that I had to go grab the big Nikon camera, get a little bit closer video of them. Again, we can see the drake mallard over on the right hand side and the hen over on the left hand side. These are some of the most beautiful ducks that we have here in North America. Probably can get a little bit better view of the M30 Causeway Bridge over here in the background as well now. Like I said, this will be paved later on this year. When temperatures warm up, they're going to pave the approaches as well as the deck all the way across to the other side. There were some people asking what these little overhangs were here, and then there's one over on the other side as well. I'm gonna get a close-up of these with my drone, but I think they're just kind of a overlook dock area. I'm not sure if they serve any other purpose. Someone else can let me in the description down below or in the comments down below if you know what they are for. That's actually where our governor was standing last week on Friday. She came down and took a look at the M30 bridge. She apparently was looking at a lot of the various bridges in Michigan as well as the roadways that are undergoing upgrades right now. Here's that deck kind of overlook on the west side of the river, and this is the one over on the east side. You can see this one's kind of falling apart. You may be able to see a lot of water in this area right now. The snow did just melt last week. We had another cold spell. Temperatures dropped down again, but today it's 60 degrees out again. Don't think I can see any snow anywhere in the area anymore. There is no longer any water flowing underneath the M30 Causeway Bridge here and flowing over to the Edenville Dam that is just in that direction. That water is now flowing over the Tobacco River Spillway. This is because that spillway has been lowered, and now that water is flowing over that dam, and this water on this side of the Tittabawassee River is flowing over the Edenville Dam. This bridge is temporary. I've said it in the past. Some people were saying, well, why wasn't a permanent bridge put in place? A permanent bridge would have cost probably more money, as well as it would have lasted a lot longer. They wouldn't have been able to put this bridge in place as soon as they have in this shorter time frame and restore traffic back over this direction. Jumping into some drone video here now. I did get another quick shot of the ducks. They don't seem to mind the drone too much. I definitely try to stay a decent ways away when I'm flying my drone so to not disturb wildlife too much. And now we can see the M30 bridge in the background. Traffic is flowing over it pretty well. People are going over at the same speed as a normal everyday road. And over on the right hand side, the Tobacco River Dam, you can just see that crane sticking out behind it. I'm going to get a little bit closer here to the M30 bridge now. These lake bottoms are going to start growing up pretty fast here. We can already start to see a little bit of green coming through, but the cottonwoods sure have taken over the lake bottoms fast. We'll see what's going to take effect this year, if they're going to go ahead and try spraying those with some sort of weed killer, or if they're going to go out there and actually mow those down. There is a cable down here on the bottom of the screen running across. I can't say for certain what that's for. The next shot will be actually the guard crossing the bridge for the first time, as well as the opening ceremony on the M30 Bridge.
Left, right, left. 1, 2, 3. Guys walk it? I feel if this bridge moves.
This was actually my first time traveling over the bridge. I was filming this with my GoPro. I did do some audio, but the wind was a little bit strong. I was very surprised with how smooth this bridge is, just kind of crossing over it. You can kind of tell there's just no vibrations. Again, this will probably be paved shortly since it's starting to warm up now. Going back to some drone video now. This is the rapid area over by the Edenville Dam that I usually like to film each time I'm out here. The last time I filmed here, I did put a overlay showing a time period back when the rapids used to be flowing here. I'll probably do that every so often so that we can just see how this area is changing. But even from the last time that I filmed here, there's less water than ever before. There's no more snow, there's no more ice. Just a little bit of water here. Again, I am flying towards the west, so M30 Bridge is right there in the center of the screen in the background. And this area right in here is where the ducks used to always like to sit, frequent, fly around in this area and eat. And this is the area that I was always viewing from my live camera. Again, there's a lot of killdeer in this area now. We can see them all flying out of the way. And over on the left-hand side, we can see there's just a lot of erosion happening on that embankment. I think this is going to be one of the areas that they're going to focus on pretty soon. A little bit of that erosion control to stop that bank from eroding further. And now off in the distance, we can see the Tobacco River Dam right on the left-hand side. And the M30 Bridge now a little bit closer up as well. And that dock that I mentioned over in the bottom left-hand corner looks like it's falling over a little bit. That's probably why it is barricaded off. Tobacco River Dam is now at its new height. And now this is a close-up of the M30 Bridge. There's just a lot of that riprap that was placed underneath it. And I'm going to get a close-up of the scour sensors. They look like these two little, almost look like a PTZ dome camera. But these are those scour sensors. They're monitoring for erosion happening underneath the bridge. I am hoping to have the live camera up on the backside of the Edenville Dam very soon, as well as another update on the steam shovel. I was just talking to Michael earlier this week, and things are going to start progressing on that again now that we have some warmer temperatures. So be on the lookout for that video, as well as the next few videos I have planned. As I'm going to go down to Sanford, do another update there, do an update on some of the erosion control efforts happening there. I also want to head back up to Secord in Smallwood Lake and do updates on those. So those are the next few videos I have planned. Now pulling back from the M30 Bridge. There's kind of that close-up view. Also raising in altitude a little bit, we can see the new level of the pond. This is the Tobacco River that is leading right up to the Tobacco River Dam that we're going to be seeing on the right-hand side of the screen very soon. The drone is facing east right now. I'm flying backwards towards the west. A little bit of ice there along the embankment left. Kind of surprising since this day we did get up to 74 degrees. We can now see the Tobacco River spillways are lowered as far as they will be. They did move the barge that was in this location and the excavator over to the right-hand side of the screen and unloaded it on the earthen embankment. People were following along on my live camera live while this was happening, and it was kind of interesting to see. I'll get down nice and close right inside of these spillways, and we can take a little bit of a closer look. But yeah, the water is flowing pretty fast right now with all that spring thaw melt, the snow melt that we're getting. The water level is definitely maintaining. This will start to slow down as we reach into the summer months, however. Now getting down nice and close, we can start to see that cement walkway right in the center of the screen. So that is how they would access the inside of these spillways in the past when they were actually sealed up. But the excavator went ahead and used the breaker and opened up these spillways over the last couple weeks and months. And those metal pieces right on the left and right side of the screen is where the stop logs used to lie between both of those guides. Over here at the Tobacco River Dam now, the dam is right here in the background, and here's the Tobacco River flowing down this way. Big crane here that they were using to pull stop logs, and now just a lot of the work happening now is for erosion control. You can see they brought in some nice black fill dirt, seeded it, and now are putting these grass blankets over the top so that it doesn't wash away. And then the work here is pretty much done. I'll hop on over to the other side of this dam now, give you guys a little bit more close-ups, and maybe a little bit more of some of the erosion control efforts that are gonna take place in the next couple days or couple months, depending on how fast the approval process goes. Maybe I'll just keep filming though and walk up this way a little bit further. You can actually start to hear the roar of the Tobacco River going over the top of the dam, flowing over top of that new weir right there. Maybe able to get a little bit closer view of the concrete steps that were poured in here. Again, these steps are about 15 feet tall. So that is the new lake level, water level on the other side of this dam. It's about 15 feet deep. There, right in the center, we can just start to see the steps. I do have my Nikon camera, so I'll probably swap over to that and zoom in a little bit further to get a little bit better look. Couple tree branches and logs in here, that's to be expected. And then downstream here, these concrete approaches here used to be an old bridge. That used to be Hunter Road that crossed across here many years ago. Water's still flowing pretty good from all the snow melt that we've had, but you can definitely see that these spillways have been lowered all the way to their new height. Let's go on up to the top of the dam now and see how things look from the northern side. Now I'm filming on the Nikon camera behind the Tobacco River Dam. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if we can get right inside of the center spillway. You can almost see straight through to the other side where that new water level is. But right behind that water is where the new concrete steps have been poured. Right over this way. You can see there's a stump caught in some of that rebar that's going to be used later on when this dam is brought back up to standards. That will be a new training wall that will be poured all along the side, right along the weir inside of the dam. A couple branches sticking out right in here too. So there must be a log stuck down in there underneath the water. Again, the water level here will not be brought back up until this dam is being rebuilt and brought back up to today's standards. Back to the drone that I still have here in front of the spillways. I'm going to go ahead, fly backwards a little bit and gain a little bit altitude. And over on the left-hand, right-hand side of the screen, we can start to see a little bit of where that sediment was piled. Actually outlined pretty well. You can see the cement is a little bit whiter in color where that was piled up there. Looks like there's a little bit of erosion happening down on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Now flying over the Tobacco River Dam. Down here on the bottom of the screen, that is all nice and seeded. with the erosion barrier over the top of it. And over here on this side of the dam, you can see that we're just working on bringing in some of that black fill dirt, leveling it all off on the earthen embankment, seeding it, and then putting some of those grass retaining blankets over top so that that seed just doesn't get all washed away. Tobacco River Dam right in the middle of the screen now. A lot of water flowing over that weir, and Tobacco River is up towards the top of the screen. We're facing north right now, and now we can just see the M30 Bridge over on the right hand side of the screen. Looks like Fisher did a little bit of excavating work and leveling off with the bulldozer over here on the bottom of the screen as well, making the area look really nice and tidy. Now I'm going to go ahead and gain altitude. We're going to go all the way up to 400 feet and see how things look from up there. There's a lot more logs sticking out on the Tobacco River side of the dam now that that spillway has been lowered. At this point, we are getting pretty close to our 400 feet. It's pretty easy to see the amount of erosion control that has been happening on the backside of the Tobacco River Dam now, the earthen embankment. And now I'm panning over towards the west. We can see that there's no more longer any water flowing there. And that is the Tittabawassee River over on the right-hand side of the screen. And now entering the frame is the Edenville Dam right there in the downstream portion of the Tittabawassee River on the west side. I'm now at the top of the Tobacco River Dam. This is facing towards the south downstream. Kind of a bird's eye view of the entire site. They just dumped another load of nice black topsoil dirt. It's gonna start pushing this over. The sand kind of fill that they put in here. Lay a nice base work for that new grass to start growing. They're supposed to be, we're supposed to be getting some rain later on this week, so that might slow down a little bit of this work here, but they only got a couple days of work planning this, putting down the erosion control matting, and then work here will be finished. Again, Fisher Contracting was doing some great work. This is the Tobacco River. A lot more stumps sticking out from the last time that I was here, now that that water has been lowered as far as it will be. It's actually a little bit of ice left over here in this corner. Thought it was all melted since it's been 60 degrees for a couple days now. Just a little bit left over there. And then over here on this side, just peek over the edge real quick. See the new Tobacco River water level. That water is really roaring through there. A couple people were asking what's happening to all the concrete when they were breaking it away. If it was going between the face of these spillways and the new concrete steps. It isn't though. When they poured the new concrete steps over here, that new spillway, they made this completely solid. So it was completely solid concrete from the top level of that step all the way to the face of the spillways. So that's that new level at 15 feet. Kind of interesting, you could actually see the old level of where the sediment had built up over there on that side. I know there was a little bit of sediment over here on the left-hand side as well, and a little bit there on that corner. Some of the erosion control efforts that might still be happening. Again, a little bit over here, maybe some more riprap, and then maybe on the other side of M30. You definitely see there's a lot of erosion happening on that side, as well as all along here, now that this lake level, or rather be the river level, has been lowered to its new height. A lot of ducks and geese out here. Swap over to the Nikon camera. Get a little bit closer look at the wildlife now. Now on the Nikon camera, let's zoom in a little bit more. This is that ice that I was talking about. This camera is definitely going to be more shaky than the GoPro, but I will try to do as best as I can, hand holding this without a tripod. A lot of geese and ducks down here. And then out here upstream of the Tobacco River, we have a couple geese swimming out here. So there's definitely a lot of wildlife in the area yet. And they're definitely getting used to the new surroundings. and rebounding in this area. Now dropping in altitude with the drone, I'm going to get down nice and low and we'll take a look at just how much water is flowing over the weir. They got a nice design on here that it kind of funnels most of that water flow towards the center of the spillway. And you can see the rebar on both sides of these. That is going to be for the new training walls when this dam is being rebuilt. Right now this water is pretty turbid. It's not very clear. This is normal for our spring winter runoff when all that snow melts. It usually starts to clear up during the summer months though, when that flow starts reducing a little bit. I'm going to drop down and get a little bit closer inside of this spillway. Can just start to make out some of those steps with that water flowing over the top of them. Now I'm going to go ahead, pan over to the left a little bit, and we could take a closer look at the earthen embankment work that is being done by Fisher Contracting with the drone. You can see all these kind of grass mats holding the right-hand side of the bank so that it doesn't erode until they're able to push some of that topsoil up on it, get it seeded, and then the grass blankets put over the top of this to keep even more further erosion happening before that grass germinates. We did get a little bit of rain today, so that should be popping up pretty soon, especially with these warm temperatures we're having. Again, you can see them pulling over that grass mat, over the newly seeded topsoil, and the bulldozer down here in the left-hand side of the screen. Again, that's a D6 dozer. And I'm going to go ahead, spin the drone around a little bit, and we are facing towards the west now. Switching over, here's the spillways. Here's that line that I was talking about. You can see where the old sediment used to be along that wall, discoloring it. And then down here is the new lowered spillway. Go over to the top of the dam. This is the view downstream of the Tobacco River Dam. Now we can get a little bit closer up view too with this camera of them bulldozing some of this topsoil up the earthen embankment. These embankments are completely sand, as you can see, all the way down to clay. It's not the safest thing to make an earthen embankment out of, but that is what has been done here historically, and what these dams were originally made from was the lake bottom right over here on this side. You can get a view of the M30 Bridge on this side. That traffic is now flowing over again too. Right here in the middle is those scour sensors that are keeping an eye on erosion happening underneath the bridge. And then the solar panels for these are right over here on this side. I got a little bit lower behind the dam, and now we can definitely see right up through those spillways. A little bit better vantage point down here. See over here on this side, they got this all filled in, already seeded with the erosion control batting down in place, and that blanket that is going to stop any erosion from happening. See this view from the bottom of the embankment, how they're going in here, dumping the black filter down here, and then pushing it up towards the top side with the bulldozer. This is a D6 cat right here. I was heading on my way out of here, but figured I might stop by here and show you guys what these stop logs look like a little bit closer. These are at least 12 inch, maybe 12, probably 14 or 16 inches wide that these stop logs are. And you can see from my last video, this is the hooks that they were hooking on with the crane and going ahead lifting these right out of here. Have to go back and look at the last video to see what these weighed, but I think they're around 1,800 pounds. Definitely pretty heavy. Got an off-road dump truck up here. Looks like a couple timber mats over here. And of course the Tobacco River Dam's just off that way. We can just see the M30 Bridge right there. I'm gonna walk to this side of the earthen embankment, show you guys a view from kind of up here, a little bit closer to the west side of the Tobacco River Dam. Never really showed you guys this vantage point. They got a whole bunch of erosion barriers up here, erosion control blankets. I use those pretty interchangeably. Lake bottom over here on this side though is pretty grown up because this did not have water in it last year, so there was a lot of cattails, cottonwood trees growing in here. They do have some erosion tarps all along this edge though. And yeah, that's just kind of a view facing towards the east side. M30 Bridge, Tobacco River Dam, you can see the crane there, and Strikers is over there on that side. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.